I am Bernice Abubeidu-Lansa. Thanks for your company right here on the JoyNews channel. We are coming to you from our studios in Kokulmimle, streaming live on DSTV channel 421, GoTV channel 144, on your digital television and around the world at myjoyonline.com. Now, a JoyNews investigation has uncovered the nation lost over $10 million in the procurement of point-of-sale POS devices for the National Lottery Authority. Our team gathered evidence that the contract for the supply of 30,000 POS devices for the NLA could have cost less than half of the contract sum of $25 million. Here are excerpts of that investigative piece.
According to the document available to JoyNews, the price of the product appears to have been significantly inflated. In a letter dated October 23, 2018, which was to be sent to the Director General for signing an onward transmission to the PPA, the price of the Nesgo N5 Smart POS terminal was pegged at $207 per device. According to this letter, the cost of the 30,000 Nesgo N5 POS terminals was $6,238,423. The company compared this price to the previous point-of-sale devices procured by the NLA and argued that the price of the Chinese product compares favorably with these, given the proprietary features available for the e-kiosk project and its dual functionality for both lottery operations and the VAS platform. The devices previously bought by the NLA were Ingenito, bought at $365 each, and TPS 300, which is currently being used by the NLA, bought at $440 each. These devices were procured in 2010 and 2015. JoyNews obtained an invoice from Shenzhen Technology in October 2019. The price range given on the invoice was $172-$260 per device, depending on the number of terminals one was buying. The specifications given mirror exactly what was offered by the NLA. According to this invoice, a buyer who is taking less than 1,000 pieces of the N5 terminals would be required to pay $260 per terminal. If the buyer was acquiring more than 10,000 pieces, however, a terminal would cost $172 per device. Therefore, since the NLA was buying 30,000 pieces, the authority should have been paying $172 per device and not $860. It should be noted that the $172 is FOB Hong Kong. Techstart Africa quoted $650 or $637 if you consider the 2% reduction in price as their FOB Hong Kong price per device. We reached out to a Nigerian businessman, Tunde Ogungbade, whose company has been using the Nesgo N5 Smart POS terminal in Nigeria and Ghana. He was in China in June 2018 at the material time that the NLA delegation was there. His company buys large numbers of devices from Shenzhen Zingodu Technology Limited, including the Nesgo N5. He said the price of the Nesgo N5 terminal ranges between $180 and $300. The $300, he said, is the price of the top-range customized device.
It's really between that $180 to $300 price range. Yeah, but again, I always say this: all things being equal, I don't know what the local cost is, I don't know what the import is, shipping, demurrage. There's all these things that happen when you're doing international, and it's not unique to POS alone. It's just anything you import. So no.
Assuming that the NLA bought the highest grade, the price is still inflated by more than 100%. According to documents available to JoyNews so far, the NLA has taken delivery of 5,000 pieces of the point-of-sale terminals. In December 2018, the NLA authorized the transfer of 20,413,864 Ghana cedis into an escrow account of Techstart Africa for the purchase of the first 5,000 devices. On March 13, 2019, Techstart Africa wrote to the NLA saying that the first 1,000 of the Nesgo N5 Smart Point of Sale Terminal had arrived at the airport and seeking the release of 940,000 cedis for payment of duty. On March 25, the company received 4,082,772 cedis, constituting payment for the 1,000 terminals. It would appear from this figure that a terminal costs the NLA 4,082 cedis, or $849. By our calculation, these 1,000 pieces should have cost the NLA 827,130 Ghana cedis. That is less than 1 million cedis. But the company paid 4,082,772 Ghana cedis for them. Assuming customization increased the price of the terminal by 100% using the invoice we obtained from the Chinese company, Nesgo N5 should cost at most $344 per piece and not $849, more than double the exaggerated amount. It seems obvious that the price of the POS terminals has been inflated by more than $10 million.
Election Headquarters coverage is brought to you by
Use more purchase of premium products via
Now, the Electoral Commission says it intends to declare results of the 2020 election 24 hours after voting. According to the EC, this election will go down in history as the best compared to previous ones held. Speaking at a national dialogue on peaceful election in Accra, Director of Electoral Services at the EC, Dr. Srebo Kweku, said this year almost all election materials are in the regions more than 2 weeks to the December polls. There's more in the following report.
The colloquium was to consider lessons learned from previous elections to ensure the 2020 election is peaceful. In setting the tone for the conversation, the Executive Director of CDD Ghana, Professor H. Kwesi Prempeh, highlighted some red flags which could negatively impact the peacefulness of the polls.
What really is on our minds mostly when we talk about election peace and security, the issue of political vigilantism, which has been a matter that has come to the fore certainly since the 2008 elections, but even before that. But I think has grown and gained greater national notoriety since the 2016 elections. I think it began to emerge soon after the elections in a number of post-election incidents, as well as during the transition between the two parties. But I think it reached its lowest ebb with the events surrounding the Ayawaso West Wagon by-election.
Superintendent Henry Ayisi Mensah, who represented the IGP, assured a number of measures have been instituted to avert some of the lapses identified in previous elections.
As the lead internal security organization and the chair of the National Election Security Task Force, we acknowledge the fact that the stakes are high in terms of security. So a number of pragmatic measures have been put in place towards the forthcoming election before, during and after. We have conducted a very comprehensive threat assessment, and we've identified quite a number of issues that we think can have a negative impact on the forthcoming elections.
Member of the UN mediation team, Emmanuel Bombande, was however of the opinion the plans and laws alone will not suffice.
I am committed to non-violence in the elections rather than there is a law on vigilance. The two are different. When you say the law on vigilantism will deal with you on a political platform, you are transferring responsibility for somebody else to do something. And you enumerated the difficulties about that. But when you begin with I, for example, I sitting here, I'm committed to non-violence. That is me. Before then we talk about anything else. It makes a difference. I wish there could be the type of support for our Peace Council to engage in the inter-party dialogue. For example, not all, because you cannot do it, but I know they are working with our think tanks and civil society. I know, for example, a lot of this has happened already with CBD Ghana across the region.
The Electoral Commission on its part says it remains ready to deliver on its mandate.
We are sure that the parties are also involved, and it's like all things being equal, by the next day, before we go to bed, we'll have declared the results. So our plan is that we want to declare results on the 8th of December. That's why I said that this year's election is going to be the best, because we are putting in place all the planning that it needs, and we are getting all the support that we need. All the logistics have been put in place. The regions and the districts have been asked to submit what they will need to make our dream of declaring the results the next day a reality.
Chairman of the National Peace Council, Reverend Ernest Edujimfi, highlighted the challenge of religious leaders making pronouncements which could spark conflict.
Well, we are all worried about the ministers who give prophecies and things concerning election. Our appeal to them is that as much as possible, we believe that prophecy still exists, that we need to exercise wisdom in speaking out some of these things so that we don't create unnecessary tension in our country. From the angle of the Peace Council, because of our representation on the council with the various heads of religious organizations, we are seeking to use our members to appeal to their people to do the best they can to tone down some of these things.
There was a call for the naming and shaming of media houses which incite violence and spread misinformation.
While speaking to Mama Vio Wuso earlier on the AM show today, Dr. Sripo Kwaku clarified his point about the EC's intention to declare results of the election 24 hours after voting ends.
Everything that you want to achieve in this life, you set a plan and prepare for it. So that is the target we have set for ourselves, and we've tasked all our officials to work towards it. So we are expecting that before we go to bed on the 7th, the districts and constituencies should have completed their work. And when that is done, by mid the 8th of December, the information should be hitting the head office. And one thing that we have introduced for the 2020 election, which is captured in CI 127, is that we also do regional collation. So instead of head office doing collation of 275 results, we would do 16 results. So the regions will do their collation, and the region will bring the 16 results. So regional head office will collate 16 results. So all things being equal, we are hoping that before we go to bed on the 8th of December, we will come out with the presidential results. Okay. After parliamentary, they are declared at the constituency levels.
So what kind of transmission system are we using?
We will use the manual transmission. The police stations will submit the results to the constituency. The constituency will send the results to the region, and the region will fax the results to us.
So unlike the 2016 elections, where I thought we used the two.
No, we use only the manual.
Okay. But I know that there are some remote areas where getting even materials there takes days. So how do we intend getting the results that quickly if we're using manual?
In the constituencies, they either use motorbikes, they use boats or canoes, they use abuboya, whatever. So each district has his or her own, officer has his own plan. You will know the terrain, what will you need to help you achieve that target. So they are submitted their requests in terms of logistics, and we are working on that.
Okay.
Now, there have been a lot of concerns about spoiled ballots in our elections. Here's what Director of Electoral Services had to say to voters.
This ballot paper is the most well-thought, planned one. In between the candidates, you have huge thick lines. so that no matter how your hand will be shaken, you will not stray into the next center. The only difference that will be a bit taller than what we are used to. And I believe we will be able to reduce the problem of rejected ballots. But we should also bear in mind that we shouldn't attribute all rejected ballots to ignorance. Some are from a form of protest. Some too have taken from 2 or 3 candidates, taken oath or had sworn to something. And once I've taken from 2 or 3 candidates, I have to give my vote so that I'm not caught by the gods. So some of them are not because they are ignorant. Some other they are protesting. Other they have taken something and they will have to satisfy all of them, or they come for the other ones, maybe ignorance.
So what constitutes a rejected ballot?
A rejected ballot is the ballot which you say that you cannot assign it to a particular candidate. One of it will be that it doesn't bear the marks of the commission, which may mean that somebody smuggled it from somewhere. One of it is that the person did not make a choice at all. He took the ballot paper and just put it in the ballot box. The other one will be that the person competed for more than one candidate. Another point is that the person has put it at the borderline. So you cannot say it is for candidate A or candidate B. So these are the reasons why we reject. And another one is that you are not supposed to be identified with your ballot paper. So if you go and thumbprint and write Sribo or Kwiku on it, it should also be rejected.
Okay.
Let's stay a while on election-related news. For a population of nearly 600,000, the Northeast region has only 6 police vehicles, one of which was recently involved in an accident, killing 1 police officer. Today in our series on security in electoral hotspot communities, dubbed Safety for My Vote, we are in the region where Vice President Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia will be voting on December 7, a region which has recorded several armed robberies recently. Residents want the police service there resourced ahead of the election. Correspondent Elias Otanko has a story for today.
The Northeast region has had notable existing threats, from chieftaincy and ethnic clashes to armed robbery, which all point to proliferations of arms. Concerns are raised. This will make it difficult for security agencies here to contain situations that may arrive at the 60 identified electoral hotspots during and after the elections. For many, the phenomenon of politically connected people being left off the hook dampens the hope of violence-free election.
When they arrest somebody, and it happens like political matters, people take politics into our robbery. They to arrest one party member with a gun. Alajis and imams, they will go and talk on behalf of the man because they are having political decision. So they will release the man. Even if they catch him with a gun, they will go and talk on behalf of the armed robber because that is just very silence. So at the end, they will leave the armed robber to go back to the house. It is not good.
There has not been notable recent political violence in the Northeast region, but in Waliwali alone, where Vice President Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia will be voting on December 7th, police has identified at least 30 electoral hotspots. Residents are worried about increasing activities of the gunmen as the elections approach.
We are just appealing because from Waliwali to Buge is also not safe. So we are just appealing to the municipal chief executive, the security council, the commander in the Waliwali municipal to just beef up the security because we are in the election year and the Christmas too is around the corner. Because when it's never getting to Christmas, the out-of-bed situation normally increases.
In Waliwali here for this time, we are now in the jungle, but we don't even understand this town for this time. Each time they are robbing, evening, morning, 9 afternoon. At any time they can attack. And we have police station here. We have security personnel here. And how come and these things are all happening when we are having personnel, security services here?
Just recently that we are about to vote, then they came in that they are constructing the road. Halfway, they have stopped constructing. Even the armed robbers point, that is the particular place that we are encountering. They did not do anything there. They just find small gravel and see sand that they are going to construct a bridge. And up to date, nothing has happened there.